We need the younger generation to start making albums again and caring about the artwork. Not saying not to make a hit. I mean, you're a young artist, you definitely need to make a hit. Now, don't try to come in on some blue lip shit. Like, no, you can still make an album with a hit. Like, you know what I mean? It's been done since the beginning of time. Like,
this generation, my kids included, they so soft, man. Like, they soft as hell, man. It's like everything hurt. Everything is paining them.
Yeah, I like to think I'm a rebel. I'm revolutionary. I like to bring change.
I don't listen to people that I can't learn from. So I don't listen to interviews of artists that don't have no value in what they say. I don't listen to music from people that I can't get no game from.
Are you the smartest one in your team?
Definitely not. I might be the dumbest one.
Hip-hop is a culture shaped by different generations, different time periods, and especially different cities. Trends come and go fast, movements blow up and then fade out just as quick, and whole regions can run the game one year and then fall back the next. But sometimes, the story does not end when the spotlight fades. The West Coast became the home of legendary albums, massive hit records, and moments that changed hip-hop forever. This legacy was built by icons like N.w.a, Tupac, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and many others who turned their reality into powerful music. They did not just make songs, they created a whole wave that the world could not ignore. But this creativity also came with real tension and real problems. Even while they were pushing hip-hop forward, tragedy kept showing up again and again, cutting careers short and changing lives forever. Loyalty was tested, betrayal happened too often, and rival crews kept stepping over lines that should have never been crossed. Court cases and police trouble always seemed close by for many of these artists. A lot of them came from neighborhoods where the odds already felt stacked against them, where prison felt like a trap waiting around the corner. The West Coast had huge talent and unlimited potential, but sometimes drama, street politics, envy, and violence slowed that progress down. Still, these same struggles helped shape the sound and the attitude that made the West Coast impossible to ignore. This is not just a story about music. This is a story about survival, pressure, success, and loss all mixed together. It shows how fame and danger sometimes walked side by side, and how the same place that creates stars can also test them the hardest. This is deeper than music. This is real life on record. Some people point to Ice-T and Too Short as early West Coast voices, and they definitely helped open doors. But the real explosion happened in 1987, when Compton became ground zero for something huge: the rise of N.w.a. Their mission was simple but risky: show the world their real day-to-day life with no sugarcoating.
I'm Easy E, the hip-hop thugster.
What's up? I'm Dr. Dre.
I'm DJ Yellow. And MC Ren couldn't be here today because he is at home sick, and we're N.w.a.
There's nothing in our records that's not real. Everything that's in our record did happen or could happen.
Some songs say you might end up dead, or you might end up in jail. So it's telling you, if you decided to be a gangbanger, you're gonna do this, you're gonna go out and do this, you might end up dead, or you might end up in jail. We're not telling you to go do it, we're not telling you not to do it. We like neutral, we're in the middle. If you do it,
Underground.
hey, that's on you.
We're not glamorizing nothing. They don't say that when you look at the news, they're showing all kind of shootings and killing. They're not saying that they're glamorizing it, right?
The wins, the struggles, and the harsh realities they saw every day were all put straight into their music. Their message was clear. This was their truth, and they were not about to water it down for anybody. Nobody really knew at the time, but N.w.a. was about to flip hip-hop upside down forever. Their debut album, Straight Outta Compton, released August 8, 1988, did not just make noise, it shook the whole industry. They took self-expression to another level, speaking raw truth with zero filter and zero fear of backlash.
Yeah, but your records are about gangs and
our records is about the streets. We never said anything about one gang in none of our records. The streets don't deal with just one gang. The streets deal with everything in society. It's more than society than one gang. Everybody think that we just four black little niggas from Compton that don't have no sense, that didn't go to school, that don't know nothing, but we know more than a lot of people think we know. That's if you got paid, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's all about street smarts. We got more brains than a motherfucker that go to college for 6 years. And we've been on the street for 20 years.
The industry did not know how to handle them. MTV refused to play their videos. Police departments kept a close eye on them, and at one point they even received warning letters from the FBI. Still, none of that could slow the movement down. The album pushed past 1 million copies before even hitting its 1-year mark, proving the streets were listening even if the system was not.
How you doing, Dre? How do you feel about Janet Jackson's music?
I love her music. I love her. You know, I wouldn't mind spending a nice romantic night.
Do you think she'll be big as her brother?
Yeah, of course.
Like 100 million records or something?
A nice romantic night, Janet Jackson. We'll go get something from Burger King or something.
Burger King. She don't even like Burger King, eh?
McDonald's then.
Okay.
One of the two. Then we'll take a ride down Compton Boulevard. Romantic cruise.
Really? That'll be all right.
Cruise down Crenshaw.
N.w.a. went from strangers to hip-hop legends in only about 2 years, which made their rise feel almost unreal. But just as fast as they climbed to the top, cracks started forming behind the scenes. This part of the story is not just about one loss. It is about the breakdown of a brotherhood and the dreams they built together. Tension started building when Ice Cube stepped away only a year after Straight Outta Compton dropped.
Okay, on the serious side, okay, you get your lyrics from what you see, the environment, okay? Is it hard doing rap, becoming a rap artist? Is it hard getting your music played on radio?
Depends on how you do it.
For us, yeah. It's hard. I mean, as far as the radio goes,
As far as somebody coming up, you know, it's not necessarily how much money you have, it's what you know, who you know. That's what it is, basically. It is hard getting records played on the radio. You just can't come out with a record, because a record that sounds good and a perfect rap record might flop. You know, there's a game behind it. You gotta know how to work it in the stores and all that type of stuff. So it's not just, you know, whenever you get on wax, you're gonna be doing concerts or nothing like that. You know, you gotta have somebody behind you that's working it.
Money issues played a big part, as he felt he was not being paid fairly for his work, even though he helped write a large part of the album. After he left, the situation turned messy, with diss tracks like 100 Miles and Runnin' and Real Motherfucking G's adding more heat to the situation. Cube did not stay quiet though, not even for a second. He jumped straight into his solo career and proved he could stand strong on his own. Meanwhile, N.w.a. had to figure things out without one of their key writers, whether they wanted to admit how important he was or not. Between 1990 and 1991, Ice Cube dropped Amar KKK's Most Wanted and Death Certificate, 2 albums that critics praised for being bold, direct, and brutally honest about real life. And if that was not enough, Death Certificate also featured his explosive diss track, No Vaseline. Even today, many fans still call No Vaseline one of the most ruthless diss tracks ever recorded, a moment that proved Cube was not backing down from anybody. The emotion on that track was impossible to ignore. Ice Cube came in with sharp punchlines, heavy delivery, and dramatic production that made every line hit harder. The disses were direct and painful, the kind that people talked about for years. The situation even got so serious that N.w.a.'s manager Jerry Heller reportedly responded with legal pressure because of how personal the lyrics felt. Even though the track became legendary and pushed Cube's solo career to another level, it also marked one of the first major breakups that changed the West Coast forever. After that moment, N.w.a. was never the same again. The group's unity was broken, and everybody had to figure out their own path while the original vision slowly fell apart. Ice Cube kept moving forward without missing a step. While building his music career, he also stepped into acting and starred in the classic movie Boys in the Hood, showing he was more than just a rapper. His name started growing beyond music, proving he had serious star power in different lanes. Meanwhile, the problems inside N.w.a. kept getting worse. Eazy-E had been seen as the business leader from the beginning, but disagreements about contracts and money started damaging trust inside the group. Dr. Dre began questioning the financial side of things too, feeling like business decisions were not fair to everyone involved. After their second album in 1991, the pressure finally caused the group to split for good. Eazy-E went back to focusing on his own music and released the EP 5150 Home for the Sick. But sadly, tragedy struck a few years later when he passed away in 1995 after health complications related to AIDS. His passing shocked fans and left many people wondering what the group could have achieved if they had stayed together. When people look back, they still talk about what made that team special. Eazy-E's personality, Dr. Dre's visionary production, and Ice Cube's powerful writing created a once-in-a-lifetime formula.
At the beginning, we were just, let's make a record, sell them out the trunk, and get us some ends to eat.
Look back on the past right now, you know, this is what we're talking about, the past. How close was Dr. Dre and the n.w.a. family all right then back at the time?
Back then, me and Cube was close. Everybody was kind of close. We were in the studio because that's where we spend most of our time at. We go in the studio and we there for like 8 to 12 hours, you know. And then after that, you don't want to see them no more.
Yeah.
You know. But we used to hang out every now and then.
After Straight Outta Compton, the energy in LA felt different forever. The what if question kept coming up, hitting the hip-hop world hard. But even after that loss, a new chapter for the West Coast was already starting to rise. After stepping away from n.w.a. and Ruthless Records, Dr. Dre made a power move by joining Death Row Records. This was not just a career change, it was a takeover move. After linking up with a young Long Beach rapper named Snoop Dogg, Dre started creating a whole new sound that would soon dominate hip-hop.
I mean, I was involved with all that type of things. I mean, it was in my neighborhood. It's in everybody's neighborhood who was living in the same type of area I was living in. It's like, if you gangbang or you don't gangbang. Take this for example. I'm gonna give you an example of something right quick. You got 3 homeboys, right? These 2 you grew up with, these 2 gangbanging 4 years down the line. Them your homeboys, you love them like brothers. They know your mom and daddy. When the other set come by to ride, they not gonna say, okay, well, we know he don't bang. We gonna just shoot them 2. They gonna ride on everybody. So you a victim of society regardless. And they just, you know what I'm saying, they label it like that because they scared of reality. But I'm not scared of it. I'm gonna bring it to you the way it's supposed to be brought.
When The Chronic dropped on December 15th, 1992, it did not just succeed, it changed the rules. This was Dre's first solo album, and it instantly became one of the most respected projects in rap. Artists everywhere started using it as the blueprint of what a West Coast classic should sound like. What really made the album stand out was not just the smooth but hard-hitting production, it was also the confidence in the lyrics and the calm but dangerous energy in the delivery. Dre and Snoop sounded like they knew they were running the game, and the chemistry between them was impossible to miss. About a year later, they doubled down on that momentum with Snoop Dogg's debut album, Doggy Style. That project proved their partnership was something special. Together, they found a formula that felt fresh, stylish, and impossible to copy. They were not just making music, they were building a sound that defined a whole era. Once again, the West Coast had the rap game locked in tight.
Find yourself after the trial, like in the studio, trying to get some stuff done? Or...
You know what? My people from Death Row, they took me out of town, you know what I'm saying? To release my mind. That's something I really needed, you know what I'm saying? I had fun in the water. I went to the water, I was in the sky, me and Tupac was like 30 feet in the air.
Both albums sold millions of copies and pushed West Coast rap into a level of mainstream popularity that few thought was possible. Their music reached far beyond their own neighborhoods, pulling in fans from suburbs and cities all over the country. Dre and Snoop did not just make hits, they helped reshape what hip-hop could look and sound like. The G-Funk sound took over radio stations everywhere. Inspired by 1970s funk music, it mixed smooth melodies with heavy bass and laid-back but confident energy that felt almost hypnotic. By the mid-90s, the West Coast wave was at its peak, and another major voice was rising to lead the culture. That voice was Tupac Shakur, a figure who saw himself as more than just a rapper.
What do you think you're most known for? Your acting, your music, or the controversy that surrounds you?
My big mouth. My big mouth. I got a big mouth, can't help it. I talk from my heart, I'm real, you know what I'm saying? Whatever comes, comes. But my controversy problem, and it's not my fault. I'm trying to find my way in the world, you know, I'm trying to be somebody instead of just make money off everybody. You know what I'm saying? And so I go down paths that haven't been traveled before, and I usually mess up. But I learn, you know what I'm saying? I come back stronger. You know, I'm not talking ignorant, you know what I'm saying? So I obviously put thought into what I do. So I think my mouth, my controversy, I have not been out of the papers since I joined Digital Underground. I've been in, you know what I'm saying? It's never, my name has not been not uttered, you know what I'm saying? And that's good for me because I don't want to be forgotten. If I'm forgotten, then that means I'm comfortable.
By the mid-90s, he already had 2 albums out and a growing reputation as someone who spoke with purpose. Starting out with the group Digital Underground, Pac always had something to say, and he was not afraid of who might disagree. As an MC, Tupac grabbed national attention with emotional and direct lyrics about the struggles he saw around him. His music spoke about hard realities, forcing conversations people were sometimes uncomfortable having. He challenged listeners to face real issues head-on, refusing to let serious topics stay hidden behind comfortable lies. When Tupac felt like people were trying to blame him for everything, he did not back down. He pushed even harder. Instead of going quiet, he used the pressure as motivation and demanded people really pay attention to what was happening around them. As his fame grew, so did his message, and he made sure his music spoke on real problems that many tried to ignore.
Tell us a little bit about the studio, how you get prepared to go in the studio and whatnot.
Go ahead. Jason, Pop, bring your frail ass in the studio.
Nah.
But all right.
He got some things. How's it work out, though? How y'all
I went in there, and I'm gonna tell you, man, honestly, it's a sight to see Dr. Dre in the studio. You know, I'm gonna tell you this for the world. Dre don't hop up in this. He got his own studio at home. He don't even kick it with regular rappers in the studio.
Right.
So I walk in the studio and Dre up in there, music bumping, George Clinton coming out there. He turned the music down, go, can you write to this? So right, security, can I write to this? Is you crazy? And I'm in there doing my thing, and I had to do it. I was in the booth. He's like, are you ready? Do your vocals. I had to stop and go, Dre, you do not know how long I waited to get in this booth. And I have Dre out there going, you ready?
Are you
know
ready?
what I mean?
Yeah.
I waited all my life for that, since straight out of Compton. You know what I mean? I had that man to look at me and go, okay, I like that one. We're gonna keep that.
We're gonna keep it. How much, I mean, you know what I mean?
The bigger his voice became, the more he focused on serious topics. Tupac spoke about police violence, the struggles young families faced, loyalty and betrayal, faith, stress, and the reality single mothers dealt with every day. At the same time, he could still drop energetic songs like I Get Around that showed his fun side too. That balance is what made him stand out so much. Pac refused to be put in just one box. He was not only a rapper, he also loved acting and theater, always trying to grow beyond just music.
For us to be on our own 2 feet, us meaning youth or us meaning black people, whatever you want to take it for us to be on our own 2 feet, we do need help. Because we have been here, we have been a good friend. If you want to make it a relationship type thing, we have been there, and now we deserve our payback. It's like you got a friend that you don't never look out for. You know, you dressed up in jewels. Now America's got jewels, and they paid and everything, and they lending money to everybody except us. And it's like, you know, everybody need a little help on their way to being, you know, self-reliant. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole thing about the album, about the Special Olympics. Everybody need a little something and they to be independent. No independent person just grew up and was born independent. You worked and you learned teamwork and you learned cooperation and unity and struggle, and then you became independent.
That hunger to expand his talents made him one of the most complete entertainers of his era. By 1996, his catalog was already strong, but that year he delivered what many still call his greatest work. All Eyes on Me, released February 13th, came with confidence, pain, celebration, and reflection all at once. The album showed different sides of Tupac, from his tough public image to his more honest and emotional thoughts. The sound of the album was polished and powerful, packed with classic West Coast G-Funk production. Death Row producers like Dr. Dre and Daz Dillinger helped shape the sound, giving it that signature bounce and heavy groove.
And it needs to be the black kids. If there's a white person who got money, then you need to help them. He need to help black kids, Mexican kids, Korean kids, whatever. But it needs to be real. And it need to be before we all die and then you say, oh, I made a mistake. We should have gave them some money. We really should have helped these folks. It's going to be too late. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when you got to pay your own karma. And that's when God make you punish. When God punishes you. Because I feel like, you know, it's too much money here. I mean, nobody should be hitting lotto for 36 million and we got people starving.
It felt like a celebration, a street diary, and a personal confession all at the same time. The project showed Tupac as both a larger-than-life figure and a real person dealing with pressure. Sadly, just as he seemed to be reaching another level creatively, his journey was cut short. Media drama and industry rivalries kept highlighting the East Coast versus West Coast conflict, making tensions worse and worse. The conflict between Death Row and Bad Boy Records became one of the defining stories of the 90s, but it also came with real loss. On September 7th, 1996 in Las Vegas, after attending a boxing event, Tupac was shot by unknown attackers in a white Cadillac after an earlier confrontation. The incident would sadly become one of the most heartbreaking moments in hip-hop history. After being hit 4 times and rushed to the hospital, Tupac was placed on life support. Confusion filled the air, rumors were spreading everywhere, and nobody seemed to fully understand what was going on. Fans, friends, and the entire music world were holding their breath, hoping somehow he would pull through. After 6 long days of fighting for his life, Tupac passed away. The news sent shockwaves not just through the West Coast, but across the entire world. His passing left a massive hole in hip-hop, especially in California, where he had become such a powerful voice and symbol. At that time, nobody else was even close to challenging his position as the face of the West Coast. Tupac was not just popular, he was respected for his deep thinking, his bold words, and his fearless attitude. Many people believed he had wisdom far beyond his age. Sadly, his strong emotions and the pressures around him sometimes pulled him into dangerous situations that eventually caught up with him. Without that larger-than-life personality leading the charge, the West Coast scene struggled to find the same energy again. Big names were still releasing music, but something felt different. The momentum slowed, and throughout the late 90s, it became clear the region was searching for its next leader. Even though Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg continued dropping music before the 2000s arrived, it was not enough to fully bring back that earlier dominance. Still, the West Coast never fully disappeared. There were moments that reminded everyone the talent was still there. Veteran rapper Too Short, who had been active since the 1980s, scored a major hit with Blow the Whistle, proving longevity was possible. The Game, working closely with Dr. Dre and 50 Cent, dropped Hate It or Love It, a motivational anthem that climbed to #2 on Billboard for 5 straight weeks and even earned Grammy nominations. Nipsey Hussle also started building respect from the ground up.
A lot of times, even when you work out, your brain, your body's a lot stronger than your brain sometimes. And you gotta catch your brain up. Your muscles will be ready to keep going. Your brain will have its limit. You know what I'm saying? And be like, I can't do no more. And then your body will follow suit. But when you can break the mental barriers, you'll notice, damn, I could do way more. I was crazy. You know what I'm saying? I had way more Emmys.
Through consistent mixtapes and strong community support, his name slowly gained buzz. His collaboration Killer with Drake and his commercial single Hustle in the House showed he was next up and ready for bigger stages. Even with these rising names and clear potential, hip-hop's spotlight during the 2000s was starting to shift. While the West Coast was rebuilding, the Dirty South was beginning its own takeover.
Right.
I mean, one thing I learned is that, you know, you deal with people as people first. You deal with a man as a man, a woman as a woman, regardless what their persona is and what their titles are. It's like code of humans, you know what I'm saying? You honest, you be respectful with everybody. You give what you want from people. And when people go against what your standards are, you're not a hypocrite to address it.
Right.
But if you disrespectful or you untruthful and people lie to you or disrespect you, you be a hypocrite to address it or to push back and say, homie, don't treat me like that because you're not giving that. So I think it's just about dealing with people on a fundamental human level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're gonna get the respect. I don't care if you a street dude with 100 murders or you some, you know, Ivy League, Princeton graduate. I'm gonna respect you as a man or a woman off rip. I'm gonna give you 100% respect.
Grabbing attention and changing the sound of mainstream rap, Southern hip-hop started running the game for a while. Artists like T.I., Jeezy, Gucci Mane, and Lil Wayne were dropping hit after hit, turning their movements into gold and pulling the spotlight down south. Their sound was everywhere, from clubs to radio, making it clear a new era had arrived. At the same time, another lane was growing quietly. So-called backpack rap was building a loyal fan base of listeners who cared more about deep lyrics and real messages than flashy trends. Artists like Lupe Fiasco, Common, and Kanye West kept that thoughtful style alive, earning respect from fans who wanted substance with their music. Meanwhile, California, once seen as the heart of hip-hop innovation, was no longer the main focus. The West Coast found itself watching other regions take control, waiting for the right moment to step back into the conversation. But as the 2000s began, things slowly started shifting again. The early 2000s brought a new party sound inspired by the hyphy movement, full of fast energy and club-ready beats. Songs like Rack City and I'm Different helped define this era, with producer DJ Mustard creating a formula that radio could not get enough of. His signature style brought back that West Coast bounce with a modern twist. In a surprising full-circle moment, Mustard even worked with Jeezy, one of the Southern rappers who helped shift the spotlight away from the West years earlier. Between 2011 and 2014, these beats were everywhere, often called the ratchet sound, a modern evolution that paid respect to the G-Funk sound Dr. Dre helped make famous. While Mustard was controlling the mainstream sound, something completely different was bubbling underground. A new generation was building a raw and rebellious movement, full of strong personalities and a do-it-yourself attitude. Odd Future became the face of that youth movement. With names like Tyler, The Creator, Earl Sweatshirt, and Frank Ocean, the collective brought unpredictable energy, wild creativity, and bold artistic risks. Their music mixed shocking lyrics, controversial visuals, and detailed production that showed real artistic depth. They were loud, different, and impossible to ignore, proving the West Coast still had new voices ready to shake things up. Skaters, outsiders, and kids who felt ignored by the mainstream were drawn to Odd Future's raw style. Their aggressive energy showed up in everything they did, from their rough recording style to their wild lyrics, their unpredictable videos, and even their chaotic live shows. That rebellious, almost punk-type energy made people pay attention fast. Nobody in rap had really seen anything like this before. And the fact that this was happening on the West Coast, the same place that gave the world Tupac, Dr. Dre, and Snoop Dogg, made it even more shocking. People did not know if this was the future or just pure chaos, but either way, everybody was watching. Some older fans, media voices, and even international venues tried to slow their momentum with criticism and restrictions. But by that point, it did not matter anymore. The movement Odd Future created had already connected with young fans who felt like nobody else was speaking their language. The youth had found something that felt real to them, and they were not about to let it fade away. The West Coast had always been a place where artists rise fast and sometimes disappear just as quickly. New waves would come in, shake everything up, and then make room for the next sound. Sometimes that fast cycle kept the music fresh and exciting. Many artists burned bright in their moment, focusing on making their mark instead of worrying about how long it would last. The attitude often felt like they were here to make noise right now, not play it safe. Then in 2012, everything shifted again. Kendrick Lamar released Good Kid, n.w.a. City, an album that many fans now call a modern classic. The project did not just introduce Kendrick to the world, it reminded everyone that the West Coast could still produce powerful, meaningful hip-hop. Kendrick's storytelling brought back memories of earlier classics like Straight Outta Compton, AmeriKKK's Most Wanted, and Tupac's emotional records. With cinematic detail, he painted a deep picture of life in Compton, showing both the beauty and the danger that existed side by side. His music showed the tough choices, the pressure, and the reality many young people face in those environments. And his story also reminded listeners of something important. For every success story like Kendrick Lamar, there are many others with just as much talent who never get the same opportunity to reach their full potential. Many never get the chance to reach their dreams. Some lose their direction because of difficult environments, risky choices, or sometimes just pure bad luck, being in the wrong place at the wrong time. These harsh realities have always been part of the stories coming out of the West Coast. Kendrick Lamar may have a smoother and more controlled style than some before him, but his honesty and detailed storytelling brought back a level of realness many fans felt was missing. His music feels personal, almost like you are watching his life play out scene by scene. That authenticity helped fans see him as the next major voice for the West Coast. That moment felt official when multiple respected legends shared the stage with Kendrick, symbolically passing him the torch and showing respect for what he represented. It was a powerful moment that showed the West Coast had found another leader to carry its legacy forward. Since Good Kid, n.w.a. City dropped, the West Coast has continued building a deep and diverse group of artists. Kendrick went on to become one of the biggest names in hip-hop, often mentioned as part of the modern Big Three of mainstream rap. But California had way more talent ready to step forward too. In the years after GKMC, new artists kept rising with their own sounds, their own looks, and their own stories, all while proudly representing the West Coast. One major force behind this movement has been Top Dog Entertainment, also known as TDE. Throughout the 2010s, many fans started calling the label a super team because of how much talent they had under one roof. TDE built a reputation for releasing thoughtful music focused on real-life experiences, pressure, growth, and survival. And again, they showed they could live up to that reputation. One of the strongest voices on that roster next to Kendrick is Schoolboy Q. After releasing Blue Lips in March, he reminded everyone why his name still carries serious weight. Even though his previous album Crash Talk came out about 5 years earlier, the buzz came back fast once he started teasing new music.
What was your why? What was the reason in the music?
So I was on house arrest, and then I saw this 50 Cent Beef DVD thing. He was like, if you out of jail and you don't know what to do, like, just rap. And I was just like, all right, I'm gonna try to do this.
Probably one of the best direct messages you
yeah.
received.
So I just started trying to do it, and it just happened, and I just fell in love with it. And then you start meeting people, you get a fan, and then, you know, they tell you their experiences from the music are, you helped me get off drugs, you helped me do this, and it's like, oh, it's bigger than just me making music. When people tell you that you helped them out, a lyric hits them in a certain way, I can't like ever retire.
At this stage, Q has nothing left to prove, but he still shows hunger every time he drops something new. Every few years, he puts out projects that pull listeners into his mindset and show how he sees the world. After being active since 2007, Schoolboy Q has earned his place as a respected veteran with stories and experience that newer artists can learn from. Schoolboy Q brings a smooth, laid-back, almost hypnotic sound that connects directly to his South Central Los Angeles roots. At the same time, he is never afraid to experiment and try new sounds, always pushing himself creatively.
The younger generation is gonna suffer because it's just gonna keep recycling new artists, because somebody else gonna come with another joint too, and another joint is gonna catch on TikTok, and then
they're disposable at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
And one thing I wanted to bring up, going back to Alchemist, is that his model of making music and then making the merch, and then he'll sell it at a high rate.
Yeah.
So that he could make the music he wants to make. And that's what happens when you have a real fan base.
Yeah.
Versus a streaming fan base. It's different fan base.
That's what I'm saying. It is, but
the
like
difficult part
somebody
is
gotta be
making a younger generation of musician and creatives understand that making something dope is more important than just flossing that you're doing well.
But
that balance between staying true to where he came from and still evolving is what keeps his music fresh. Over the years, he has worked with major names like 21 Savage, AAP Rocky, Travis Scott, and Kanye West, proving he can stand next to the biggest artists in the game. With that level of experience, his catalog speaks for itself and demands real respect. His journey shows growth not just as a rapper, but as a person too. Albums like Setbacks, Habits and Contradictions, and Oxymoron showed how deeply personal his music can be. Q has always used his albums almost like journals, talking about the struggles he faced, the obstacles that nearly stopped his career, and the habits he had to overcome to reach his full potential. At the same time, he also reflects on the moments that made him thankful and pushed him to grow. His stories move between his early life in South Central, adjusting to fame, and stepping into fatherhood. That honesty makes him stand out during a time when headlines about rappers often focus on controversy or career setbacks. Q instead represents growth, experience, and longevity. Beyond his solo work, Q also helped form the TDE supergroup Black Hippie alongside Kendrick Lamar, J-Rock, and Ab-Soul. Fans often called them a supergroup of elite lyricists. Even though they never released a full group album, their influence together still left a strong mark on hip-hop. Another key voice from that circle is Ab-Soul, a rapper known for complex wordplay and deep subject matter. His music touches on everything from relationships to memories to social issues and personal beliefs. There is also a strong spiritual layer in his work that gives his songs extra depth. Tracks like Terrorist Threats and The Book of Soul show just how thoughtful his writing can be. He has also worked with respected lyricists like Mac Miller and Action Bronson, while appearing on songs with Danny Brown, Joey Bada, and Chance the Rapper. Ab-Soul continues to prove that West Coast rap is not just about sound, but also about strong messages and sharp lyricism. TDE's influence goes way beyond just the West Coast. Their music reaches fans not only across California, but across the entire country and even worldwide. Ab-Soul especially built a loyal following through his rebellious mindset, deep lyrics, and complex subject matter that makes listeners really think. With albums like Long-Term Mentality, Control System, and Herbert, Soul created projects that strongly connect with his core supporters. His music feels personal and thoughtful, showing respect to the artists who came before him while still carving out his own unique lane. He is not just continuing a legacy, he is adding his own chapter to it. His newest project, Soul Burger, added another strong entry into a discography known for consistency. Even as mainstream hip-hop sometimes moves away from deeply conscious lyrics, Ab-Soul keeps delivering layered messages and clever wordplay that reward careful listening. His music feels like solving a puzzle, with every listen revealing something new. But this is only episode 1 of this 2-part story. There is still more drama, more moments, and more details coming very soon. Make sure you like this video, share it with other hip-hop fans, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what comes next. The second episode is dropping soon, and trust, you do not want to miss it.